What does a small business owner need to know about owning their website?
Well, a whole lot, I think.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes. I think
Okay.
there's common fallacy that I'm not a techie. I don't want to know those things, so I'm just going to hand it off to somebody else and let them take care of it. Great. But there's problems that come from that. So the number one thing you need to know about owning your own website is that you need to be the owner. That means you need to verify your ownership of it. And there's two parts. There's the domain name. The domain name is the www dot whatever your website is, the name. That is important. Okay, and that's registered at a registrar.
Okay.
And that's paid for separately. It's owned separately than the than the website. What we think of, what most of us think of as a website, is hosting. We rent for the most part. We rent hosting from a hosting company.
It's like renting space.
It's like renting space. It's like renting storage space or any kind of service that you'd pay rent on. Renting a home. You're renting space for your website on somebody else's computer somewhere. Okay?
Computer or server?
Server.
Okay.
Which is a computer.
Oh.
It's a hard drive connected to there will be a CPU. It's too technical. Again, there are technicalities to all of this. You don't need to get into all the technicalities to know that you own it. So if you've got a bill, if you pay for the registration for that domain name, and you can look and see that it is registered to you, then you own it.
Separately from whoever designed your website.
That's the key. Separately.
Okay.
One of the pitfalls that happens, we've heard some horror stories, is that somebody hires somebody to build a website for them, and that person then registers the domain name, they get the hosting, they own it all, and they just charge the client. When the client says, at some point in the future, if they say, well, I don't need you, I'm not happy, whatever, then all of a sudden the person who has built the website owns their website, owns their domain name, and they have an amount of leverage over the business owner that the business owner is not happy about. And furthermore, you can lose your domain name. That's another thing, is that there are notifications that come out. That domain name needs to be renewed depending on how long you can pay for it in advance, years or just 1 year at a time. Well, I experienced this because I made a mistake and I wasn't getting the email notifications. So I didn't exactly put it off on somebody else, but I did have a situation where I didn't get the reminder. I didn't renew the domain name. It was sold, or it was put for auction, and I had to go buy it back. And so it was a big business expense. And that could happen to a business if they don't verify that they own their domain name. So that's in particular. The ownership on the hosting is a little different, but it's still your files. It's your website, and your files need to be where you can get to them. So that's the second step. The second thing you need to know is you need to know that you have administrative access, which is the highest level of access to the hosting site where your website is hosted. So you can log in and you can see everything and you can make changes.
And
that's administrative access. That's the highest level. There are other levels of access. So one way it could happen, if you made the mistake, the person that you've hired to build your website could have the administrative access, and they could give you subscriber rights or editor rights so that you can come in and look, or maybe you can edit a page or write a blog, but you really don't have control over your website. And that's to protect you because you might make a mistake. And I should say here, I'm talking mostly about WordPress because about 40% of the websites out there are built on WordPress, and many of the commercial agencies that are building websites for people are using WordPress. And so it's not a problem for you to have ownership. It's not hard. It's a few technical details, but I'm going to be creating some videos about that. But you need to have administrative access. And then one of the protections that you can have is exactly turning it around. You could have the administrative access, and the person that's doing the editing for you, you could give them one level down so that they can get into the website and they can change pages, create pages, do all that, but they can't change the settings. They can't change your email address. They can't change your billing address. Things like that. That are
that are important.
that the owner should have.
Right.
So this is about ownership, and as the business owner, you have to own it. Right.
It is your business.
And the third thing, we've got verifying your ownership of your domain name and your hosting, administrative access to both, And the third thing is reporting. You need reporting. Now, that, again, is really built into WordPress.
Okay, so what does that entail?
Reporting would be, for example, there's a new version of WordPress. And you need it, your website needs to be updated. Or you've got a plugin. There's a new version of a plugin that needs to be updated. Someone has logged into your someone with this username has logged into your website. Yes, I get that reporting all the time. She didn't know that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
There can be, depending on how your website is configured, if you've got plugins that are producing information about where it might be collecting some of your Google Analytics or other analytics, that kind of reporting.
Okay.
So there needs to be reporting. If someone is managing your website for you, they need to be reporting things to you.
Okay.
But duplication of that reporting, like those emails. It would be the correct way to set it up, in my opinion, would be to have an email address that you have set up. Many times when you buy hosting, it comes with email addresses, a certain number of email addresses. So you could easily set up an email address that would be like website report at whatever your domain name is, and have that come to you. And it comes to that email box, and then you can also forward those emails to your other, like your Gmail or whatever, your personal email, so that you don't have to be going and checking this separate account all the time. And you can, there are different types of reporting you can turn on and off, and they can go to different addresses. So it's very controllable who gets what information. But then the person that's managing the site for you or creating the site for you, and sometimes mostly they're both, they could get duplicates. They could get it forwarded to them. Right. It comes to this address that you own, and then they get it forwarded to them, and then they can act on it what they need.
Right. Well, that makes sense.
Or they can contact you. Hey, did you see this? Whatever.
Right.
But
and give some explanation if there is an issue.
Yes, and it puts you in first position. Right. You're always in the driver's seat.
Right.
So it's about, you own the business. You got to own it. You got to own the business, and you don't have to know all the technical details and how to do everything to still behave like the owner and know just enough so that you can effectively manage. Just like in your business, you don't necessarily have you might not have the same technical knowledge that someone that works for you do, but you need to have enough knowledge about what they do to manage them and know that they're doing their job.
Right.
It's exactly the same here. And it's not hard, and it's important. So that is what do small business owners need to know about owning their websites.
Right.
We hope this has been effective for you.
It's been good for me.
Look forward to some additional videos that dive into details and other aspects of business ownership.
Right.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.